The massive research vessel hung silently in Earth's upper atmosphere, invisible to human radar systems. Its quantum-adaptive camouflage technology rendered the ship perfectly undetectable, blending seamlessly against the dark cosmic backdrop. Dr. Hyun-Ki Park sat in his dimly lit laboratory, surrounded by computer screens displaying complex genetic data. He had no idea that extraterrestrial eyes were watching him, studying every minute detail of human biological patterns with clinical precision. Inside the alien research vessel, lead researcher Coral reviewed multiple data streams. Holographic displays flickered with human population statistics, reproductive rates, and genetic diversity algorithms. Something peculiar captured their attention. Humans seemed remarkably inefficient in their biological reproduction strategies. Fascinating, Coral muttered in their native language, adjusting scanning parameters. The human below continued working, completely unaware of the alien observation. Hyun-Ki's fingers moved rapidly across his keyboard, analyzing genetic mutation patterns. He was researching rare genetic disorders, hoping to understand why certain hereditary conditions persisted in human populations. Little did he know that his research had become the primary focus of an advanced alien civilization's most intensive study. The alien vessel's scanning technology penetrated buildings, bodies, and biological systems with ease. They collected data on human reproductive cells, genetic structures, and potential evolutionary trajectories. To them, humans were like an intriguing mathematical problem waiting to be solved. Coral zoomed into microscopic representations of human sperm cells. Thousands of potential genetic carriers, with only one potentially reaching fertilization. The waste was astronomical from their perspective. Billions of genetic potential, essentially discarded in moments. Inefficient, Coral noted clinically, marking another observation in their comprehensive report. Down on Earth, Hyun-Ki stretched and walked towards the coffee machine. His laboratory was quiet, filled with the soft humming of sophisticated equipment. He had no sense of the extraordinary surveillance happening just kilometers above his head. The alien research team had been observing Earth for decades, but something about human reproductive strategies fascinated them more than any previous species they had encountered. Humans seemed simultaneously complex and remarkably primitive. Quantum sensors mapped Hyun-Ki's entire biological profile in milliseconds: age, genetic history, potential hereditary traits. Everything became a data point. They were particularly interested in understanding why humans invested so little strategic planning in their reproductive processes. Coral reviewed comparisons with other galactic species. Most advanced civilizations practiced controlled genetic selection, ensuring optimal offspring development. Humans, by contrast, seemed to leave most of their reproductive processes to chance and emotional connection. In the research vessel, algorithms continuously calculated human population growth, genetic diversity, and potential evolutionary paths. Each calculation revealed more questions than answers. Humans were unpredictable, their genetic potential both limited and surprisingly adaptable. Hyun-Ki returned to his workstation, unaware that his next mouse click was being meticulously analyzed by an alien research team. His casual movement, the slight perspiration on his forehead, the micro-expressions crossing his face, all became valuable data points. The alien vessel remained perfectly still, quantum engines ready to shift dimensional planes at a moment's notice. They were observers, not invaders. Their mission was to understand, not to interfere. As night fell and Hyun-Ki prepared to leave his laboratory, the alien researchers continued their silent vigil. They had discovered something extraordinary about humans, a species that seemed chaotic yet possessed remarkable potential for adaptation and survival. Coral made a final notation in the day's research log. Human reproductive system, inefficient, potential, unlimited. The research vessel would continue its observation, waiting, watching, and learning about the curious species called humans. Hyun-Ki Park would never know how closely he was being studied, how his very existence had become a fascinating scientific mystery to an advanced civilization, watching from just beyond human perception. As he turned off the laboratory lights and walked into the cool night air, the alien ship remained, silent, invisible, and endlessly curious about the complex biological enigma of human existence. Dr. David Park stared at the strange data flickering across his computer screen. Something was different about these research signals. They didn't match any known terrestrial or satellite communication patterns. The numbers seemed almost alien. He adjusted his glasses and zoomed into the data stream. Population charts, genetic markers, and reproductive statistics danced before his eyes. Something unusual was happening, and he couldn't quite understand what. In the quiet research facility, David was known for his meticulous approach to demographic studies. He had spent years tracking human reproductive trends, but these new datasets were completely unprecedented. They showed mathematical precision that seemed beyond human computational capabilities. Unbeknownst to David, the alien research team was conducting their most comprehensive biological assessment of human reproductive potential. Every sperm cell, every genetic possibility was being mapped and analyzed with quantum-level precision. The alien researchers had discovered something remarkable. Humans were producing millions of reproductive cells with an astonishingly low success rate. From their perspective, it was like watching a factory that produced thousands of products but only successfully completed one. Corral, the lead alien researcher, created complex holographic models showing human reproductive inefficiencies. Each model demonstrated how a single human male could potentially generate enough genetic material to populate entire continents. Yet most of this potential remained unused. Fascinating, Corral muttered, adjusting the quantum sensors that penetrated deep into human biological systems. David's computer suddenly displayed a series of unexpected graphs, genetic diversity rates, population growth projections, and reproductive potential charts began to shift in ways he couldn't explain. The data seemed to suggest possibilities beyond current scientific understanding. Outside the research facility, the world continued its normal routine. People went about their daily lives, unaware that an advanced alien civilization was conducting the most comprehensive reproductive study in galactic history. The alien team had been collecting data for decades. They understood human reproduction was more than just a biological process. It was a complex system influenced by emotions, social structures, and individual choices. This made humans uniquely interesting. David began taking notes, his scientific curiosity growing with each passing minute. The data suggested something extraordinary. Humans possessed incredible genetic potential that remained largely untapped. Millions of potential human lives were generated and then simply discarded. Quantum sensors in the alien research vessel mapped human genetic structures with incredible detail. They could see potential genetic combinations, predict potential health outcomes, and understand hereditary traits at a level human scientists could only dream about. The research was clinical yet fascinating. Humans were not just being studied, they were being understood at a molecular level. Each genetic possibility was a story waiting to be told, a potential life waiting to emerge. Corral prepared a preliminary report. The findings were groundbreaking. Humans generated approximately 1,500 sperm cells per second, with only a tiny fraction ever contributing to actual reproduction. From an alien perspective, this seemed wasteful and inefficient. David's hands trembled slightly as he continued analyzing the unexpected data. Something big was happening, something that could revolutionize human understanding of reproduction and genetics. The alien vessel remained perfectly camouflaged, its advanced technology rendering it invisible to human detection systems. They watched, they studied, they collected data, all without human knowledge. As evening approached, David realized he had been working for hours. The strange data continued to flow, presenting more questions than answers. He knew he was on the verge of something significant, something that could change human scientific understanding forever. Corral made a final notation. Human reproductive system, 98.7% potential remains unexplored. Further investigation required. The night settled around the research facility. David packed his materials, unaware that an advanced alien civilization had just completed its most comprehensive study of human reproductive potential. The data would change everything if humans ever discovered its existence. Outside, the stars twinkled, silent witnesses to a scientific investigation that transcended human understanding. The United Nations conference room buzzed with tension. Elena Choi sat at the head of the table, her professional demeanor masking the extraordinary situation unfolding before her. Strange diplomatic communications had arrived from an unknown source, proposing something that defied conventional understanding. Coral, the alien researcher, appeared on the massive screen, not physically present, but digitally projected with crystal-clear precision. The being's holographic image looked almost human, yet distinctly different. Smooth skin, symmetrical features, and eyes that seemed to hold centuries of knowledge. "We have studied your species," Coral began, "and we believe we can help optimize your reproductive potential." The room fell silent. Scientists, diplomats, and genetic researchers exchanged confused glances. Optimization? What did that even mean? Elena leaned forward, her fingers carefully pressed against the conference table. "Explain your proposal," she demanded, her voice steady and controlled. The alien's presentation began. Holographic charts materialized, showing human population statistics, genetic diversity maps, and reproductive inefficiency graphs. Each visualization was more shocking than the last. Humans were generating millions of reproductive cells with minimal successful outcomes. Coral's proposal was simple, yet radical. They wanted to introduce advanced genetic screening techniques that would maximize human reproductive potential. No more random genetic combinations. No more potential genetic diseases. Complete reproductive optimization. "We can eliminate genetic disorders," Coral explained. "We can ensure healthier offspring. We can maximize human potential." The room erupted in whispers. Some scientists looked intrigued. Others looked terrified. The implications were enormous. Dr. Michael Lee, a leading geneticist, raised his hand. "And who decides these genetic parameters?" he asked, a hint of challenge in his voice. The alien's response was calculated. "We propose a collaborative approach. Humans would participate in decision-making. We are not conquerors. We are assistants." Elena watched carefully. Something about the proposal felt both exciting and dangerous. Humans had always dreamed of eliminating genetic diseases. But at what cost? Complete genetic control seemed like a slippery slope. Outside the conference room, the world continued its normal routine. People walked streets, worked jobs, lived lives, completely unaware that their entire species' future was being discussed in this moment. Coral continued the presentation. Advanced alien technology could map genetic potential with unprecedented accuracy. They could predict health outcomes, eliminate hereditary risks, and potentially extend human lifespans significantly. "Imagine a world without genetic disorders," Coral said. "A world where every child is born with optimal health potential." The proposal was seductive. Eliminate genetic diseases, maximize human potential, create a perfect genetic future. But perfection, the humans knew, was never that simple. Elena studied the alien's presentation. The data was compelling. The technology seemed miraculous. But something felt off. Human diversity wasn't just about eliminating risks. It was about unpredictability. It was about the beautiful chaos of genetic combination. "We will need time to consider," Elena finally stated. Coral's holographic image nodded. "Time is something we have plenty of," the alien responded. The meeting concluded. But everyone in the room knew this was just the beginning of something extraordinary. As Elena walked out, her mind raced. Humanity stood at a crossroads. Accept alien intervention and potentially transform human reproduction forever. Or reject it and continue their current seemingly inefficient path. The alien vessel remained in orbit, watching, waiting, observing. Humanity's response would change everything. The stars outside the window seemed to hold their breath, waiting for humanity's decision. The United Nations Special Conference Hall felt electric with tension. Michael Lee stood at the podium, facing the holographic projection of Vren, the primary alien negotiator. Diplomats from every continent watched silently, understanding that this moment could change human history forever. "We will not surrender. Our genetic diversity," Michael declared, his voice firm but controlled. Vren's response was mathematically precise. "Diversity is not being eliminated. We are offering optimization." The alien's hologram shifted, displaying complex genetic charts that showed potential human improvements. Projected lifespans increased. Genetic disease risks dropped to nearly zero. Each visualization was more compelling than the last. Michael understood the challenge. The alien proposal wasn't a threat. It was a seductive scientific solution to human biological limitations. Eliminate genetic disorders, maximize human potential, create a perfect genetic future. But perfection, humans knew, was never simple. "Your technology suggests removing genetic variations," Michael challenged. "But variation is our strength." Vren's holographic form remained calm. "Variation does not mean keeping destructive genetic patterns. We can preserve diversity while eliminating suffering." The conference room felt heavy with unspoken tensions. Scientists, diplomats, and genetic researchers represented humanity's complex perspectives. Some saw opportunity. Others saw potential, cultural destruction. Outside the conference hall, the world continued its normal routine. People walked streets, worked jobs, lived lives, completely unaware that their species' future was being negotiated in this moment. Michael pulled up human genetic diversity charts. "Look," he said, "our differences create our resilience. Our random genetic combinations have helped us survive multiple planetary challenges." Vren's response was immediate. Quantum-level data projections showed how targeted genetic interventions could accelerate human evolutionary potential. No more random genetic mistakes, complete biological precision. "Imagine children born without potential genetic diseases," Vren suggested. "Imagine humans with enhanced immune systems, enhanced cognitive capabilities." The proposal was beautiful. Eliminate suffering, maximize potential, create a genetically perfect future. But the humans in the room understood something fundamental. Perfection was not the goal. Adaptability was. Diplomatic tensions increased. Each side presented compelling arguments. Humans defended their biological autonomy. Aliens presented scientific optimization strategies. "We are not asking for complete control," Vren explained. "We are offering a partnership, collaborative genetic development." Michael recognized the diplomatic finesse. The aliens weren't demanding. They were proposing, suggesting, inviting collaboration. Hours passed. Discussions continued. Each side presented complex arguments: genetic potential, cultural preservation, scientific advancement, biological autonomy. The conference room became a battlefield of ideas, not with weapons, but with data, with perspectives, with fundamentally different understandings of biological potential. As evening approached, something unexpected happened. Understanding began to emerge. The aliens weren't seeking conquest. They were offering assistance. The humans weren't rejecting help. They were protecting their fundamental right to biological complexity. Vren made a surprising suggestion. "What if we create a collaborative research platform? Humans control the parameters. We provide the technology." Michael paused. The proposal was elegant, simple, respectful. "We would need complete transparency," Michael responded. "Full human control of genetic decision-making." Vren's holographic form seemed to smile. "Agreed." Outside, the stars watched silently. Humanity and an alien civilization stood at a remarkable moment. Not as conquerors and conquered, but as potential collaborators. The negotiations would continue, but something fundamental had changed. Communication had replaced confrontation. Understanding had replaced fear. and humanity's future suddenly looked more fascinating than anyone could have imagined. 5 years had passed since the first alien contact. The International Extraterrestrial Research Center buzzed with collaborative energy. Dr. Hyun-Ki Park walked through corridors where human and alien researchers worked side by side, a sight that would have seemed impossible just years earlier. Koral, the lead alien researcher, stood examining human genetic samples. Something had changed in their understanding. What began as a clinical study had transformed into a profound respect for human biological complexity. "Your species is remarkable," Koral said to Hyun-Ki. "Not because you are perfect, but because you are unpredictable." Hyun-Ki smiled. The journey had been long and complicated. Initial fear had given way to curiosity. Suspicion had transformed into collaboration. Humanity had defended its right to biological diversity, and the aliens had listened. The research center represented a new kind of diplomacy, not just between species but between different ways of understanding life itself. Humans had proven that their seemingly chaotic reproductive system was actually a sophisticated survival mechanism. Quantum genetic analysis machines hummed softly. Holographic displays showed intricate genetic maps, part human innovation, part alien technology, a true collaborative effort. The alien proposal of complete genetic optimization had been carefully redesigned. Instead of controlling human reproduction, they would now assist, provide technology, offer insights, but never dictate. Vren, the primary alien negotiator, walked into the laboratory. "We have learned more from humans than we ever expected," the alien admitted. Hyun-Ki understood the profound statement. Humans had something the technologically advanced aliens had never fully appreciated: the beauty of biological randomness, the magic of unexpected genetic combinations. Outside the research center, the world had changed. Genetic diseases were becoming more manageable, not through complete elimination, but through collaborative understanding. Humans maintained their genetic diversity while gaining scientific insights. "Your emotional connections influence reproduction," Koral explained, "something our mathematical models could never fully calculate. Love, attraction, personal choice. These human elements were now recognized as critical components of genetic development, not flaws to be eliminated, but features to be celebrated." The alien research vessel that once secretly observed humans now orbited openly, a symbol of collaborative discovery. No longer hidden, no longer threatening. A partner in human exploration. Genetic screening technologies developed through this collaboration began helping humans understand potential health risks. But they didn't remove human choice. They provided information. Humans decided. Hyun-Ki looked at the genetic display. Millions of potential genetic combinations. Each one a story, each one a potential life. The aliens had learned to see this complexity, not as a problem to solve, but as a miracle to understand. "We thought you were inefficient," Vren admitted. "We now understand you are beautifully complex." The research center represented more than scientific collaboration. It represented a new understanding of life itself. Diversity was not a weakness. It was the greatest strength of any species. Humans had defended their right to biological autonomy. The aliens had learned to respect it. A young researcher approached, holding genetic analysis results, half human, half alien collaborative research, a perfect symbol of their new relationship. "We are learning together," Hyun-Ki told the young researcher. The stars outside seemed to shine brighter. Humanity had faced a potential genetic invasion and transformed it into a partnership. Not through weapons, not through conflict, but through understanding. Koral reviewed the day's research: genetic potential, biological diversity, human emotion, alien technology, all working together. "Fascinating," the alien whispered. The research continued. Humanity's journey of genetic discovery had only just begun, and somewhere in the vast universe, other species would one day look at this collaboration as a model of peaceful scientific exploration. Not conquest, not elimination, but mutual respect. The future looked bright.